Welcome to the Inspired Action Podcast. This is where we have motivational, inspiring conversations and interviews that we hope you'll enjoy listening to. If you're interested in creating more balance in your life, understanding your 5-element energetic nature, finding the path of greatest ease,
or releasing the baggage of this lifetime and discovering ancient alchemy that can help you fly in your life, join us and other inspired actioneers on this alchemical, transformational journey.
Welcome to the Inspired Action Podcast. My name is Jay, and this is Pod 60. I'm here with my co-host, Lita Herman. And Lita, can you believe we're on episode 60?
Wow. Welcome back, Inspired
60.
Actioneers. Pod 60. Woohoo! It's a wild ride that we're on. We're having so much fun, and we are so grateful to be hosting this podcast.
Yes, we hope everyone's enjoying our conversations. And Lita, you always have this great attitude, which leads us to today, which is what this podcast is all about. It's about gratitude. And I like to say the attitude of gratitude. It's another part of our happy on the way to happiness. And so let's talk about the attitude of gratitude.
Yes, we love gratitude. Anyone who is doing the law of attraction or just positive thinking in general knows that gratitude is the key to helping you have the life you want.
Yeah, that is so true. And the attitude of gratitude, it's a big part of our journaling approach in the Master Alchemy Program group that we have. And so we've been doing it for a while now.
Yeah, we love journaling, which makes me think, before we begin with the rest of the podcast, Jay, let's take a moment to update everyone on the latest podcast news.
Okay, well, we could start with the Inspired Action app, and new meditations are up.
Yes, we just posted a new meditation called Free Your Heart. So you can go to the App Store or Google Play to check it out. We're really excited about a bunch of new meditations that will be finishing up in the next week or two.
Yeah, we're going to keep doing the virtues for the meditations for the virtues. And we have other cool meditations there. So do you remember the first one to start with?
The first what to start with?
The first meditation to start with?
Letting go?
Letting go, letting go. So just in case anyone just found our show, start with the letting go meditation.
Start with your letting go meditation, which is typically done at night at the end of the day.
Yeah, which is an awesome one. And you can do that for like a long time, and it gets easier and faster, and you can do it throughout the day, and it's a really good place to start. And so another thing I wanted to mention was this thing called Patreon, which is like this platform that a lot of podcasters are using. And, we meet people all the time from all over the world, and they're always asking us, how can we help? How can we help? And we're just like, just listen and, be a part of it. And we love that. But this is another step in that direction of how you as a listener can support this podcast. I mean, we're just, we haven't quite finished it. It's going to be up in a couple of weeks, which will be like November, depending on when you hear this podcast. But, check it out. We'll let you know when it's ready, but it's just something that we're adding another dimension to the Inspired Action Podcast.
And that reminds me of another new thing on the podcast, which you've probably seen. It's 5-Element Fridays.
5-Element Fridays. So people are digging it for sure.
Yes, it's a few minutes of fun about the 5 elements, and it comes out on Fridays.
So if you haven't checked it out, go check it out right now, and we will be here waiting, and we're just doing our thing.
Yes. And we did one on metal, one on water. So we've been really working on...
We're going to go through the 5 elements.
The 5 elements. And we have some new topics coming up that we're really excited about.
So, and if you are liking the podcast, please take a moment to rate and review, subscribe, do all those things on Apple. And that would be... And, it just helps other people find it. And that would be a really cool thing for us. Or guess what? We just found out later that there's so many people who are listening to our podcast on the website, which is
inspiredactionpodcast.com.
Yeah, I did not realize that. I was talking to a friend, and we had already put it on their phone, on their app, and they're like, nope, I just listened to it on my computer. So we dug a little bit, and it's people listening to it on their computers, which is awesome. No judgment. We love it.
And let's not forget that listeners can get their free IAP t-shirt.
How do they get their free IAP t-shirt?
Well, all you have to do is send us a question. And if we use your question on the podcast, then we will send you a free t-shirt.
Which I'm wearing one right now. You will not get this actual one because I'm wearing it. It's got my stank on it. So you will get a clean one, I promise.
A clean one that we haven't even worn, even though we seem to wear them every day, don't we?
Yes. So, know what? Let's start with this thing. We get questions all the time. We got a question on stone medicine last week. So we're going to do a couple of podcasts on stone medicine.
Yes.
And you can ask us anything you want.
And I just want to say the t-shirt that Jay's wearing, I'm totally digging. It's Yoda. It's our Yoda version.
You can't say that.
That's right. I can't.
This is Yoda's cousin called Wooda.
We don't want Lucas or Disney coming after us.
We do not want that. It's Wooda, which is Yoda's alchemist cousin.
Oh, that's it.
Yes.
Wooda.
She's very, very wise. And she said we could use her image, which has a very big likeness to the Y one.
To her brother.
Yes. No, her cousin.
Her cousin.
Cousin Yoda.
Her
This
cousin.
is Wooda.
Well, she's the Wu Wei of the Jedi.
That's right. So what does our shirt say on the front?
It says there is no try, only Wu Wei.
Okay, so this is Wooda's face on there. So if you're a Disney person, do not send the lawyers. It's Wooda.
Yes, and you can just write us, email us, DM us, however you get in touch with us, send us your question.
And you can decide which shirt you want, the traditional alchemy shirt with the smiley face or the Wooda about the Wu Wei, but you only get to pick one.
Yes.
Otherwise, that'd be Tuda.
And there's another one coming.
Tuda. That's Yoda's other cousin, which we don't, not so popular.
Took me a minute. Yeah, no, Tuda is a prototype at this point.
That's right.
And another prototype. What were you going to say?
I don't know how we got on this.
All right, so another prototype T-shirt is our running inspired.
Yes, we have a run
shirt.
inspired, which Lita ran last week. We did a 10K, and she wore her inspired action run inspired T-shirt, and a lot of people really dug it.
Yeah,
and they were like
so
smiling.
that'll be coming out soon.
And you'll have to let us know. So send us a question or a comment or something that we use on our future show, and we will send you one of the T-shirts, and we'll hopefully get it right in your right size.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go. That's a great place to start. Let's go. Are we grateful? What are we grateful for?
Oh, I'm grateful for all the amazing listeners out there who love the podcast and give us great feedback. And it's been an amazing journey with all of you.
Okay, I wasn't really asking you that, but that sounded really good. I was asking the listeners, what are you grateful for?
Okay.
But that was great that you answered that. It is a great way to start your day with your self-cultivation. I think it's important of any morning routine. What do you have to be grateful for today?
Yes. And, when in our journals, the ones that we use and we have produced, we do something called the Grateful Fours.
Yes.
4 things to be grateful for every day.
Yeah. And, since you said that other thing now, I want to say I'm grateful that everyone's engaging with us with questions and suggestions, connecting with us from all over the world. It's so much fun to be part of this little tiny podcast that's growing. And let's kind of move on to the gratitude.
All right, let's move on. Yes.
And I think we should make it even more challenging.
Oh.
And we could talk about the journals later as that comes up, because I have something else I want to say about our specific journals.
All right.
When we say our journals, it's a journaling system that Lita and I created that we have for our Master Alchemy Program group, which are not for sale right now to the general public, but we might be making them available soon.
Yes, I think they will be available.
We will keep you posted on that. So when we say writing in our journals, we have a specific journal, but you can use anything and just kind of adapt it to what we're talking about.
Yes.
So that is what I'm grateful for as well.
That's great. All right. So you said you're going to make it more challenging.
Yeah, let's make this
Jay?
let's make this attitude of gratitude adjustment a little bit more challenging.
Those pesky obstacles, Wood's gotta love them.
So all right, so here we go. Just because I'm having this feeling that people who are listening, and I'm going to just include that in ourselves too, that every once in a while we need to have an attitude of gratitude adjustment.
Yes.
Okay, so I think everyone needs it once in a while.
Yes.
I don't know about you, but
and I know that I need adjusting when things are going not so good, and sometimes when I do feel really stuck, if I just sit down and think of a couple things that I'm grateful for, everything starts to shift.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a few minutes, I'm certain, because I do think even when things are going good, doesn't have to wait till the wheels fall off. It can be but we do it every day. So you start to tap into the gratitude and boom, things start to shift.
Okay.
So gratitude is not just, this momentarily attitude. It's inside.
Yeah.
You always say it, Lita. You say it the best. You say gratitude is part of just who you are.
Yeah. Every day I wake up and feel it. And before we continue, I just want to kind of review what we're doing here. We have been talking about the Taoist virtues in these past couple podcasts that help us be truly authentic in our lives.
Yeah, so we're talking about gratitude today. So the virtues that we've been talking about, how about if I give it a little quick recap?
Yes.
Benevolence is the wood virtue. Morality is for the fire virtue. Social compliance is for the earth virtue. Loyalty is for metal virtue. And trust is for the water virtue.
And those are the first set that society gives us, not the Taoist
That's
ones.
right. They give us this early set through parenting and schooling, and you just can't really escape them. If we didn't have some level of this social compliance, there'd be just total anarchy. These virtues are necessary for us to live in a society, in a world. So this is the first part. So let's talk a little bit about the Taoist ones, which are the ones we're doing right now.
Right. And just going back to the social compliance virtue is that earth virtue, and it's about being appropriate and respecting boundaries. And today is about the earth, scenario.
Yeah, I think the social compliance virtue in particular needs to transform you if you want to be your authentic self. I think you already kind of just said that, but for me, it feels like, this is really something that people have to think about.
So the virtues that we're talking about are from Taoism. The first set we just explained, those are the ones that society gives us, and they are actually Confucianist. And the new set that we're going to be talking about that's key to your individual happiness and how we transform in our lives. Those are the 5 Taoist virtues.
I'll just say them really quick.
Yeah. Courage,
Authority, which we've already done those 2. We're doing gratitude today. And then forgiveness and acceptance. This is the rock star list. This is the ones we're talking about. This is what this podcast is about.
Yes. And these new virtues, they don't come easily. It's about putting yourself first, even though there are all these things in our lives pulling on us all the time. And for some of us, that's really challenging.
Yeah, like us making us feel guilty, getting us to do things we don't want to do. We might get frustrated, angry, apathetic. It goes on and on and on. So you just have to get in alignment again.
It's the human condition. We all experience this. Any human alive has some amount of this.
Yeah, and typically this is the big cause of why you think you're unhappy or why you're unhappy, but here it is, Lita, right here. When you get older and you evolve and you might want to start to realize some of these things, and then you have this midlife crisis, or we like to call it midlife transition, and then gratitude needs to be part of this. It's a virtue that will change our consciousness about what is stuck and what is making you unhappy.
And often when someone is going through a midlife transition, they're coming from that place of stuckness. So they have to find gratitude for what is good.
Yes, Stuckness is Suckness.
Yes. There you go. That goes on a t-shirt, I think. So, it's like maybe you're having a rough time and you sit down to dinner, you had a bad day, and suddenly you take a moment to have gratitude for the food in front of you.
Or the people around you, or the house that you're in, or the table you're sitting at, or even that your dog is sitting right there. Be grateful what is around you. It's just gratitude.
And it makes you feel better when life is not bending to your will.
Yeah, we all know what that's like. Life is not bending to your will. It's like that Bend It Like Beckham, that movie. Did you ever see that movie?
Yes,
it's a good
love
movie.
It.
Okay, so, the money that you want in your bank account, the job that you want that you don't have, you're working so hard. You're always focusing on the lack.
The lack of a lover or the child misbehaving.
Yeah, the list goes on and on and on. But here's the secret. If you can, and that was a pun on the word secret, by the way. If you cannot make things change, the more you focus on it not changing, the more likely you'll become entrenched in that.
Okay, wait a minute. I didn't get the pun. Okay. What was the pun?
I said, here's the secret. The Secret, the movie.
Oh, The Secret. Okay, yes. Let's talk about the movie The Secret in a minute. But I just want to say, if you can move to gratitude for what you do have and what you do like and what is going well in your life, as hard as it is to do that when something totally sucks.
Oh, back to the suck again.
But
if
you can do that, then you can change your consciousness around whatever is stuck.
If your consciousness starts to change, then guess what? The situation will change. We really are whatever we think. Get off of the lack. Get off the negative. Think about the positive. Think about what you have.
Yeah, we are whatever we think. And that was the
There you
theme
go,
of the
to the
movie,
movie.
The Secret.
We're going to put both those movies in the show notes.
The Secret so impacted my life. Before The Secret, I really wasn't in control of my negative thinking. It ran rampant in my life. And in 2004, I saw that movie and I never looked back. It was a total game changer for me.
I think for me, the basic premise of that movie is we get what we think and especially what we believe. I should say to anyone who hasn't seen that movie, if there's anyone out there, I'm not really sure, like a million people have seen it. It's on Netflix, I'm pretty sure. I think it's free. Actually, well, Netflix is not free, right?
Netflix is not free.
It's free with your monthly subscription to Netflix.
We think it's free.
You could probably find it other places, or you can ask someone to borrow. We've loaned ours out 1,000,000 times. So get The Secret.
Yeah. And remember, it's just not always easy. We say it lightly, but sometimes it's really hard to be grateful in a bad situation. I mean, what if you hate your job, but you need the money? So even changing jobs seems impossible and you just feel stuck. I mean, I had a person that I know who was working like 60 hours a week and was exhausted and the job just sucked and she hated it. And then one day she said, I met a friend.
There you go.
And then you wouldn't believe, in the months that followed after having met the friend and enjoying the friend and having something to be kind of grateful for about the job started improving. And then everything got better and it felt easier and the boss was better. And it was
a connection.
Crazy. Yeah.
It's an openness. It's being grateful. I do think when you look back on your life and you see the jobs, good or bad, it's almost always about the people.
Yes.
And not necessarily about the job. But when I'm working with someone, Lita, and they really want to work on the job, the career palace, I always make them write a list of 10 things that they love about their job, because they have to get out of the negative, and they have to really, if you want to find a new job, you have to come from a place of love.
Yeah.
You have to love. If you come from that, I hate my job, I have no money, then guess what the universe is hearing? I hate my job, I have no money, and that's the same thing. The history is going to repeat itself. So think about, let's talk a bit also about relationship too. You can apply that to relationships.
That's a perfect example, because how many times have we seen people go through relationship after relationship and the same problem crops up each time. So I knew someone who was in a really bad relationship and was quite miserable, and she started to do gratitude. It seemed crazy because really she should have just been planning to leave, but instead she really started to find the things that she could be grateful for, even in the misery that she felt. And, she had a young child, so she started being grateful that child came out of the relationship. And then she found other things to be grateful for. And when the relationship finally ended several years later, she found the love of her life, someone who really met all the things she wanted to have in a relationship.
Yeah, the gratitude of her daily gratitude, or whatever she was doing, it shifted for her. Otherwise, it might have just been repeating the history, another negative relationship, another divorce, another, we see it all the time. Like, why can't they change what they're doing? So whether it's a job or a relationship, or we can just go on with the list, but situation has to change.
Gratitude in that example paid off because it brought her into alignment with her wonderful new partner.
Yeah. I mean, it is about the law of attraction. If you're writing about all the wonderful things, and then guess what? You're open to more wonderful things.
And if you're focused on the negative, the universe delivers you more of that. It's the basic premise of the law of attraction.
Yeah, so if you're new to the law of attraction, we have a lot of great, I'll say the word gurus out there, that all the people in The Secret movie, and, Esther Hicks, which we love. We talk about the Esther and Abraham all the time. So go check out these concepts. We'll actually put the Abraham link in the show notes as well, so you can check that out. But, for me, somehow knowing that thousands of years ago, the Taoists were already realizing this and emphasizing how essential gratitude is to becoming the realized human being. You've heard Lita say it over and over. The Gen Ren, that we really can't evolve into a fully authentic being without being in touch with our gratitude. Ding, 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 ding. Guess what? They figured out a long time ago.
I know. That's such a great point. I love that the Taoists put these 5 virtues together, almost like a roadmap for all of us. Somehow we have to have have first the courage to be ourselves. That was 2 podcasts ago. We talked about that first virtue,
58.
courage. And then you have to find the authority.
Pod 59.
To make your own decisions, not based on what society thinks you should be or do. And then the next step is our gratitude.
Pod 60.
For what's already good in the world, which,
Yeah.
by the way, you have to have gratitude before we get to forgiveness, which will be
Pod 61.
and acceptance, which
Pod
will
62.
be Pod 62. Okay.
We should also say that gratitude is where the earth element shines. It's not that the other elements can't access it, but the earth element, they just kind of rock it. You know, they kind of excel at it. And this is why I think they have an appreciation for the abundance in life, because guess what? Their season is really the late summer harvest. It's grateful. It's gratitude.
Yes.
Of the bounty in life.
Yes, the bounty of when the harvest is ready to pick. They don't really have one of the 4 seasons like the other elements. They are the transitions between all the seasons. But the harvest time of year, that transition between summer and fall, that really symbolizes earth time, because all the fruits of our labor come to fruition and we receive. We receive this amazing, beautiful bounty from nature. This is what earth is in touch with every day of their lives. And so they're always looking around with gratitude so they can appreciate this bounty that they have.
Yeah, I think that they're always in this feeling that there is good coming to us in the world. Just, be grateful for what you have, and there's more good coming.
So the Taoists have a very interesting take on why gratitude is so important. It's not so much positive thinking as we think it is. It's even cooler to me. They say that when you have gratitude, you can have mercy on yourself.
Yeah, and we talked about this earlier, and I said, mercy, that's a funny word. You hear it in so many different concepts, so I decided to look it up. And the official, I don't know, Merriam-Webster kind of
whatever.
definition. The definition of mercy is compassion or forgiveness shown towards someone whom it is within one's power to punish or harm. That's really deep.
Yeah.
Okay, so compassion or forgiveness shown towards someone whom it is within one's power to punish or harm. So if you have mercy on yourself, you have the power. So just turn it around into a positive to love and kindness and gratitude.
It's perfect. How many of us don't have compassion for ourselves? We may have compassion
That was
for
a good
everyone
compassion's
else.
a great one to add to that,
Yeah.
yes.
How many of us can't forgive ourselves?
Oh, I see people that I talk to all the time. They just punish themselves every day. They might be doing it consciously, but or unconsciously, they're mad about the choices they've made in the past or choices that other people made for them. They gave away their power, and they just continue to find sneaky little ways to punish themselves over and over and over.
This is really rampant in our society. There's so much self-hatred, and it's on the rise with all the anxiety overall, and it has to do with our frustration with ourselves. And people are mad at themselves because, they're socially awkward, or they don't think they're getting the success they want in their career, or they feel like they've let other people down because they were trying to be authentic maybe, or, there's so many varieties of this, and then they have no compassion for themselves.
Yeah, we talked in the past about the FOMO, about fear of missing out, and then some of the unrealistic expectations of social media. You're looking at people and you think they have perfect lives and you don't. So again, they're focusing on the lack. Mm-hmm. But the reason to find the mercy for yourself is that when you do, mercy brings the ability to appreciate life, your own life. How can you begin to appreciate your own life if you haven't been doing that?
And that's really the secret to it all. It's gratitude.
So there you go. You can just stop listening now. And that's
mic
it.
drop.
In the middle of the show, mic drop. Complaining, or like we all call hedgehogging, because we have a little thing with the hedgehog. Whenever someone's complaining, you give them the hedgehog, and that reminds them to stop complaining. But complaining sucks your energy right out of you, right out. Gone. It weakens you. It steals from you. You might be focused on what you don't like outside of you, but pointing it out to yourself over and over and over, or to anyone around who can hear you, at the end, you're really just depleting yourself.
Yeah.
It's just taking away a penny out of that jar every time.
Yes. And the miracle of all of that is that gratitude gives more energy back to your life.
So stop complaining.
Yes.
Start being grateful.
Yes. And it's going to literally rejuvenate your life.
Yes.
A little bit of gratitude every day is like plugging into your outlet.
Yes.
In your, I'm sitting right next to an outlet here with my computer.
Do not put your finger in that outlet.
Yeah, no, don't put your finger there.
We're not saying do that.
Yeah, do not do that at home. No, a little bit of gratitude every day is like plugging into an energy source. It fills you back up. So, I have an electric car. When I come home every night, I plug my electric car in when I get home and my car gets filled up. And I do that because, believe me, I am grateful not to have to buy gas anymore.
Okay, that was a shameless plug for electric cars.
Yes.
Get it? Plug electric
Plug.
cars.
Oh, right. Got it.
We do love the electric cars, though. They are fascinating to experience. So the other thing is with gratitude is you start to appreciate your own life more. You're right in the moment. If you take the authority and you have the courage to do what you want in life, and it might be against society's belief, such as becoming an artist, even though your parents tell you should be a doctor or an accountant or a lawyer because you'll make more money or you'll have a safety net. If you proceed along life thinking that, you're not going to have the gratitude for what you do have. You'll be miserable, resentful. You'll be thinking that you gave away your power, even, though you're doing okay. Maybe they were right about the money or whatever, but your soul is not happy. Your heart is just conflicted. You're not living the life you want to live. You're in conflict with everyone around you, and you're feeling like maybe you're constantly being judged, or you might feel fake or inauthentic. So you end up complaining. You're hedgehogging all the time instead of being grateful for the fact that you are fulfilling your true destiny.
Yeah.
And you can just be you.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, what do you think about a little homework to help create that attitude of gratitude for everyone?
Yeah, a little attitude of gratitude adjustment. Get your own little hedgehog out, come out, and we'll put a little picture of our hedgehog that we use.
Let's put a picture of our cute little hedgehog.
Yes, okay. So it's the no complaining challenge. That was part of my wanting to make it a little harder.
Yes.
So let's do a no complaining a week of hedgehogging.
And it is, not to complain, a little hard to do this exercise. So get ready.
The hedgehog challenge, if you choose to accept it, is can you stop complaining all day and be truly grateful for the things you have in your life? Now, first you have to start with 1 hour. Then you go to 2 hours. Then you go to 4 hours. Then you go to 8 hours. And then you can maybe
you're making
jump
it
ahead.
easy. They don't even have to go cold turkey?
No, they can first try for an hour. Then make it go for 2 hours. Hopefully they'll start and they won't look back.
Now, some people may feel like you're ignoring the things you don't like, which is kind of true.
And some people really hate that. Take the climate crisis, for example. Many people are really upset about it. The glaciers are melting right in front of us practically. And, it could be a little bit scary. Okay. And if you ignore it, won't it get worse? That's one way to look at it. They may argue that, we can't put our head in the sand and just ignore it. We have to shout, 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 shout. We have to tell everyone. We have to, shout to the world what's going on, the bad things.
Yeah, you might think that way, but how about feeling gratitude for all the people that are currently working to improve things?
On the climate change, on the protesters, on the
Turn that
different
around.
thing. Yeah.
What about being grateful for the fact that electric cars exist, for example, and they're not polluting the environment? Even if you don't own one, you might be grateful that our society is slowly moving towards better emissions.
You could find 100 things to be grateful for about the climate change. And I'm sure you could find 1,000 things to complain about the climate change.
Definitely.
But let's go with the 100, and then we can change the attitude. So it's not desperate. Maybe we can make some changes.
It's a choice you can make in every moment, and you are going to be draining your energy by complaining or increasing your energy by finding gratitude.
Yeah. And so I think with the hedgehog homework or the non-complaining homework, don't complain about the hedgehog title.
Yes.
How about that? Right. Every day, find 4 things to be truly grateful for. And you can write about that in a journal. And if you want, you can do a little gratitude meditation where you can think about each of those 4 things and find 10 more things about each thing that you truly love. For example, if you're grateful about your partner.
Yes. Then if you're grateful about your partner, why? What specifically are you feeling grateful about?
Is it their humor? Is it their kindness? Is it their benevolence? Is it their mind? Is it what they do with the kids.
Or that they cooked dinner last night.
Yeah, it could be right down to the littlest, tiniest thing. So that's the attitude of gratitude about that particular person. So that's it. Simple. It's easy. No complaining for an hour. Build that into 4 hours. Then go 8 hours, 24 hours, 1 week. You get the idea. Hopefully you just keep going forever.
And I think we'll create a little meditation for this assignment as well. Yeah.
And so once you start practicing this, I just want to get this really in quick before we end. Then see if you could start to have mercy on yourself, compassion towards the things that you do in the life that you live in. You could just go easy on yourself and forgive yourself for some of the things you may really, truly torture and regret over.
Yeah, Jay, you always say that you want to live with no regrets. And I think that's what this is about. And we say Earth is the best at gratitude, but we all get stuck in ruts. And sometimes Earth people get really stuck in problem solving and they forget that they're all about gratitude. And they start analyzing the problems, which is really a form of complaining when done with negativity.
Yeah, I say paralysis by analysis. So the Earth person gets stuck in this thing. So here's the question. Are you in the problem set? Or are you in the solution set? The problem set is never going to solve the problem. It's just going to keep reminding you of the problem and get stuck in that suckiness, okay?
Yes.
So the solution set is when you're analyzing what needs to be done and find the solution. Tap into your Earth. Find an Earth friend if you can't do it. If you're like, but they can get stuck in the problems like the rest of us, but you want to move towards a solution, not the problem.
Yes, and gratitude helps us do that. That's
totally
really what gratitude is doing. It's taking us out of the problem set and, mathematically like a set. It's taking you out of that problem set and it's moving you into the solution set. And gratitude does that.
It's a much more fun place to live. I promise you that. So having mercy on yourself, accepting yourself, allowing yourself to be who you are, you can start to see why I think gratitude is one of the key of the Taoist 5 virtues that Lita is always talking about here.
Society says we should be socially compliant. And these 5 virtues are saying, yes, we want to have appropriate behavior so we can fit into society. And that's a good thing. But there's also, like, if you're a spouse and you're in a relationship you don't like, you're supposed to just suck it up and be a good spouse? No.
Now what are you supposed to do?
Yeah. So
you have to switch that.
Yeah. So instead you find the gratitude for the things you do like until eventually things start to change.
All right, so let's just wrap up the no complaining challenge again. And we'll do it as well. We will do it again. We live it, but we will actually do it for this next week.
Yes.
And I love doing it. I love to shake people up with this challenge because at first you're like, it's impossible. Then you start to realize your language. What language are you living with? Then people around you, as you change your language, you're like, what's going on with you? Your kids might say something. Your coworkers might say something. Your neighbors might be saying something. So let's start this wave. Let's start this hedgehogging, this no complaining wave.
You can have your whole family do it. Children love doing this.
Oh my God, when we did it with our group, everyone was like, more and more people started to get on board with it because it is kind of cool. And you do get out of a rut.
Yes.
It's a language. It's an attitude. So shake yourself up. Take this challenge. Go for 1 week.
And let us know how it goes. We'd love to hear from you. Is this a difficult thing for you to do? Is it easy? What are you learning from it?
Yeah, I was just you said that right in front of me. Right before me. What do you learn from this? Even if it's like, wow, I need to clean up my language. I need to clean up how I view my own world.
Yes.
You have the world you created. So how do you want it? You can write your own story.
Okay.
How can we top that? That's a good place to end. All right. Next podcast will be on the Meadow virtue, which is
forgiveness.
All right. So let's talk soon. Bye.
Yes, bye.
Happy trails to you until we meet again.
You've been listening to the Inspired Action Podcast, and you've reached the end. Woohoo! why not celebrate a little bit and click that subscribe button right there. We love having you with us on this journey, and we want it to continue.
You can also rate and review this podcast. And if you have already, thank you so much. We read all reviews, and your reviews help other people find this podcast as well. You can also be a part of this podcast yourself by submitting a voice recording message and emailing it to us at Lita@inspiredactionpodcast.com or Jay@inspiredactionpodcast.com.
And if you want, you can join our Facebook group or follow us on Instagram.
Join us next week for another Inspired Action conversation. And thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening, and remember to hug the dog.